This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
This is the episode of August 12 to August 20, 2017 of Journeys, Chronicles of Our Asian Century, where we report, discuss the events in Asia in relation to the world, and particularly the engine of global growth, the Chinese economy, and the Philippine economy. We, as usual, begin with interesting people and places. Today, it is about a very, very interesting individual, a Filipina who earned her doctorate after 3 years in Beijing Normal University. Well, it's Beijing Normal University, so you know it's about education. I'm speaking of none other than Dr. Arlyne Marasigan from Atimonan, Quezon. She has had a very, very interesting 3 years in China. She is a master's in chemistry education. I might make some errors in some of these technical terms. There's this PhD. How many PhDs do you have? A PhD in educational leadership and policy. Major in comparative education. I don't understand the entirety of those descriptions. This is part of an international program that you were in, Dr. Marasigan. And she is presently a faculty of the PNU, Philippine Normal University here in Manila, in science, technology, and mathematics, and environmental education. Let's go to Ms. Marasigan and find out more. So, how would you start this discussion of ours on your experience with your stay in Beijing for 3 years? Or earlier, off-cam, you were describing the fears of your mother about your going to Beijing. Please, magandang magsimula doon. Please go ahead.
When I got the scholarship, and asked my mother, I'll go to China and I'm going to continue my PhD there at Beijing Normal University. Her initial reaction is no, okay? So that time, because the Philippine-China relationship, it's in a very difficult situation, so that's why she doesn't like me to go. So
you got the scholarship in 2013 or 2014?
2014, I got
2014.
accepted.
The Scarborough standoff was still fresh from 2012, and then 2013. So 2014 was also the year I wrote my column entitled "China is a Better Ally." Yeah. But anyway, tuloy mo yung pag-aalala ng nanay mo. Yeah. But your father, what was his reaction?
My dad, okay, if you really want to go, then go. So, a night before my flight, so for 1 week, my mom, we don't talk to each other because she really doesn't want me to go to China because of, this kind of issue. And then, at night before my flight, then she went to my room and then, helped me to pack all my things. And then she asked me, do you need, to send you to the airport? And I told her no, because I can.
So she reconciled, tinanggap na niya yung decision mo at that night.
She does not have any choice. Whether she like it or not, I'll go.
You talagang decisive ka.
Yes.
And your father and your colleagues, what about your boss in PNU at that time, and then you traveled with a professor also from UP.
Yes, actually, I got a strong, support from the University of the Philippines because I'm also taking my PhD there. So, Philippine Studies.
Philippine
Okay,
Studies.
yeah.
Okay.
So the dean, he signed my letter, and I asked permission that I'll file a leave of absence. Okay, and then my dad, he gave me his blessings that okay, you can go. So with my colleagues, they're asking me why China. So taking education in China, so why not Europe or America or and then they are keep mentioning some famous university in the Western world, but I told them it's I got this chance and I don't want to lose this kind of opportunity. It's really, really good. So yeah.
Yeah, and now you're the unique individual that has taken her doctorate in China, in Beijing Normal University. And so you were telling us upon your arrival in China how things were so different from what you had in mind.
Actually, I heard a lot of things about China, but it's all about the air pollution. But the economic development and then the culture and something, it's education. I don't have any enough idea about Chinese education, culture, and even the politics. So that's why my idea and knowledge about China, it's really, I would say, limited.
Very limited at that
very
time.
limited at that time. But when I first arrived, because they keep on saying, the education in China is not that good. But when I arrived at the airport, wow, the airport is really, really huge. And I'm thinking, where is this China really? So it's a big question mark. That's why when I arrive at the airport, I told to myself, I want to explore more about China, and as much as possible, I want to travel. So I studied the geography first of China, how many provinces, how many ethnicity, and then significant places to go for me as educator.
Yeah, tell us a bit about Beijing Normal University compared to Philippine Normal University. Physically, structures, the size, the orientation of its education. So our audience will have an idea of what you saw and the comparison that you could draw.
Actually, Philippine Normal University, it was founded in 1901. A year older compared to Beijing Normal University. Beijing Normal University founded 1902.
1902.
Yeah.
Okay.
Infrastructure-wise, Beijing Normal University, it's really, they have the state-of-the-art facilities. No question about it. So while our university, we're still struggling because of the, we're here in the Philippines, the budget constraints and a never-ending story here, especially in education, where in most cases, there are a lot of budget cuts before, but this time I think
it's
improving. They're improving. And when it comes to funding, I think China, they put more fund, based on the GDP or something.
Oh yes,
it's really, really high.
Yeah.
That's why it's their budget is really significant, and then they put so much budget to education. Yeah.
And while you were there in Beijing, how did they treat you? Was there discrimination? You remember you went there at the height of the tensions between the Philippines and China, 2014, when you were there. And so 2014, 2015, 2016, what did you first feel? And then over the next 3 years, what happened?
Actually, I'm thinking I might be, I might experience a lot of discrimination here because I'm from the Philippines, but it's not the case. They are very welcoming, both the international community of students and then the Chinese community, okay, in our university. They are, I think, yeah, I never experienced, this kind of discrimination.
Yeah, you were telling us about your communication with your mother over Skype, and she was so worried.
Yeah, because my mom, after I think months of stay in Beijing Normal University, because I have a constant communication with my family, talking with my siblings, and then talking with my nieces and nephews, and with my parents. And then, yeah, one time my mom, told me, and she's really crying in front of, oh, what happened to you? And then, oh no, please pack up your things and then come here. Why? And then, have you heard the news that China and the Philippines, they are declaring war? Are you sure, Mom? I am really, really safe. I'm just here inside the university. And it's really peaceful here. So why are you crying? No, we saw the news that the war will soon start. Okay. So I just told them we're really, really safe here. I can assure you. Yeah.
So that incident passed, and in later days and months, did your mother express this concern again?
Nope.
Not anymore. Huh?
Not anymore. And how's your life there? And how's the food? And do we need to send some money? Do you have enough money there? So yeah. She's really concerned about my, my lifestyle and my situation while in Beijing Normal University. And I told her, no, Mom, you don't need to worry. So I'm really safe here. My money is enough, and then I'm having a good, time here with international students, with Chinese community, with Chinese students, and they are really very, very, accommodating. That's why. Even I cannot speak Chinese because my program is an English program, international program. So I think I'm the second batch of this international program, and most of our professors from UK, Europe, Europe, and the US. And then some Chinese who studied abroad that can really speak, English. So it's really nice, and I enjoyed my, my studies there.
Yeah. What about your interaction with other Filipinos and Filipinas in Beijing?
Yeah. I go to the church.
So every Sunday you go to the church?
Every Sunday, and then I volunteer to, to
play the piano or organ?
Play the PPT.
What's that?
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
I need to prepare the
PowerPoint.
every Sunday Mass. And then
okay.
so for 2.5 years, I'm doing that kind of thing for the church. So, and some of there's an English choir because it's an English Mass, Chinese Mass, Italian, French, Spanish Mass. So English Mass, the choir members, they're all from the Philippines.
Really?
They have the Couples for Christ.
All from the Philippines. What about the other nationalities? They don't join the choir?
They joined the Chinese choir, and then other nationalities, and then the Filipino
so
choir.
It's really a Filipino choir.
Yeah. And then some nationalities, they join to the Couples for Christ choir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, right beside you is Mr. Ado Paglinawan, of course, a former diplomat of the Philippines, based in Washington and now back in the country. You are free to ask questions if you have any. Of course, Ado is with us for the Philippine-China focus discussion a little later. And so this many years in China, you suffered no discrimination?
No.
On the other hand,
But I experienced some ambush interview.
Ambush interviews.
About,
please tell us about it.
It's because so many Chinese educator and some, students say, okay, Arlyne, what's your opinion about the South China Sea issue? And then, I sometimes, okay, is this an ambush interview? And then, I just try to explain, and then though we have our own biases, and then I try to, as much as possible, try to strike the balance between, the China and the Philippines to create a good, relationship.
Yeah. Good.
As a Filipina and as a student, I'm not carrying my name when I go to China. I'm carrying the name of my country. I'm not Arlyne Marasigan when I go to China.
Yeah.
I'm the Philippines.
A citizen of the Republic of the
Yeah,
Philippines
that's
in
why.
China. Yeah.
That's why. So, as much as possible, I want to create a good atmosphere, a good and friendly relationship with China, because one of the students asked me, what's your opinion and your stand? So, I told them that I cannot uproot Philippines, okay, to put it away from China, because geographically speaking, we are a neighbor country, and we must establish good relationship. And and we can. And how can we do this? We can create a dialogue, and then it's one of the best strategy in order to have this kind of win-win situation between two countries. It's been I think it's a very long history.
Yes, 1,000 years, more than 1,000
it's really
years.
difficult to insist from this perspective and to shift to another perspective. But I think one of the best solutions about this kind of conflict is to sit down and to have dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we do not have that much time, and we have actually thousands of photos of you in your stay in China. Ms. Marasigan has this daily sort of blog where she puts in comments, pictures, and so on, almost every day while she was in Beijing. But anyway, let's review some of those photos and quickly give us a backgrounder on each of those things. Who's this? A friend of yours?
Yeah, it's a friend of mine. Yeah, we visited her province. Her province is in Shanxi.
Shanxi,
Yeah, the capital is Taiwan, and then this one is in Guangxi.
Guangxi. And,
My Chinese is not that good.
okay, next image.
And then a friend of that's my professor from the University of the Philippines.
The one in the middle?
Yeah, the one in the middle, and then a Chinese our friend from Nanjing.
Nanjing.
Yeah.
This looks like a historic place.
Yeah, it's a
Do you
story
recall it?
person, all very, I cannot exactly recall the name because
okay.
she's also my Chinese friend. Yeah.
Okay.
Threw me around. And then
This one.
I requested to write the
Your
motto
name?
of BNU, our motto.
The Beijing.
Yeah, Beijing Normal University.
The motto of the Beijing University. That's
and
you.
Then, I'm so happy because I found it's a Rusal.
Okay.
I don't know that.
In China?
In China.
In China.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rusal flower.
The
here in
flower.
the Philippines.
And do you do painting? Well, is that your painting?
No. It's not my painting. One of the international hostel where
where you stayed.
During,
And this is your graduation.
That's the university president of Beijing Normal University during my graduation. Yeah.
Okay. And who's that?
Yeah. Every time I traveled, most of the time I stay with my friend's house, and that's the
baby of one of your Chinese friends. Okay. Anything else? What about this?
So this is our second international cultural festival in our university. Since I'm the only Filipina, so I'm the flag bearer. I told you before, I'm not carrying the name, my own name. I'm carrying the name of our country.
And what about this photo? This is particularly pretty, with your umbrella.
Yeah, I visited. There are several booths. And it's a Myanmar booth I visited.
Okay.
So they
but
asked,
that's you.
Yeah, that's
okay.
me. Yeah, and it's our practice general rehearsal.
This one.
Yeah. Creating our flags.
Okay. Well, anyway, these are the visuals. We'll cut it short because we've run out of time, but we'll ask for a little extension. So, after 3 years, after you've seen the tensions come and go, and now we have President Duterte's independent foreign policy, closer ties with China, what do you see in the coming years in this engagement of the Philippines and China? And of course, from the educational point of view.
Yeah, as educator, I think, it's really good that we can have this kind of harmonious relationship and then learn from each other. So when one of the attaché from Chinese embassy here in the Philippines visited our university, Beijing Normal University, with some professors here in the Philippines and students, I told them, I think we need to learn from each other because, Filipino people, they are really jolly, and even in the times of, in a very difficult situation, we know how to smile, we know how to handle situation in a very light-hearted manner, and, in a very happy manner. But I think the best thing that we could learn from China, it's the discipline, and then, that's really from elementary to higher education. They are really putting so much, effort and discipline to, gain more knowledge. Those, there are some, comments that it's Chinese education, it's a kind of route learning. But I think there's no such thing as very perfect education system, but we can learn from each other, and then how to improve creativity, critical thinking, logical thinking, and also how to develop this good study habit, because I think that's our problem in our young generation today. How to train those children in a manner that they can achieve their good study habit, because education, it's not all about acquiring knowledge, it's all not about absorbing a lot of information, but learning how to learn. For me, it's learning how to learn. We can, with the technological advancements, if you want to learn and to know something, then just click and Google it. But how to think critically, logically, then it's a very big challenge for learners from elementary to higher education. So I think most of students, as students, we must learn how to learn.
Okay, well, we wish we had more time, but we'll be inviting Ms. Marasigan to join us more frequently, even as co-host in this discussion. Okay, so we'll take our break, and we'll move on to the news and views from Asia in the past week.